Hi there, welcome. Thank you for joining me for this active practice to refresh the back. Go ahead and start standing with me. We're going to face the short edge of the mat, kind of toward the front end of the mat as well. Just stand with your feet a comfortable distance apart, something like hip to shoulder distance. Give yourself a nice full breath and then exhale it out. Take a simple scan of your body. Make sure that your hips are back in space, over your ankles, not forward over your toes. Do the same with your head. Slide your head back, lengthen the back of your neck, and just drop your hands down by your sides so that you can relax your shoulders. Notice on your next breath in how when you inhale, there's a natural expansion or lift and widening to the chest. When you exhale, you'll feel that opposite action of sort of drawing in and contracting. So we're going to go with that now. When we inhale, we're going to take the arms and reach them out, expanding just like the breath is expanding, and all the way up overhead. On the exhale, we're reversing, just taking the arms back down, almost like we're doing a little bit of snow angel action. We're going to take the hands behind the hips. You're going to take your thumbs along the back of your pelvis with your fingers on the rim of your pelvis. You can push now your hips forward, so now purposefully over the toes. And as they go forward, squeeze your butt muscles, so a little tuck in your tail, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back, and push so that you can generate some lift in the spine. As you lift and look up, you're creating a back bend, so you're opening the front of your body. Slide your head back, lengthen the back of your neck. Your voice would be normal if you were talking. You're not so deep or far or imbalanced that it's hard to talk. Bring your hips back now and bend your knees. So we're going to go into a squat, a version of chair pose. Just leave your hands right on your hips. Your buns go back behind your heels. You keep length in the spine and you drop your your butt down. You can look at your knees and make sure they're tracking the same direction as your toes, so parallel or maybe slightly apart depending on your foot stance. Take your arms out in front like you're holding a big box in front of you. Drop the buns down, stick the booty out, draw the waist back and lengthen through the spine. We're turning on the legs because probably they've been sleeping. As you exhale, drop your hands, standing up. The belly will brace naturally with that exhale contraction. We're going to return to inhale, arms overhead. I'm just going to face you so you can see this part easier. This time when you exhale, you're going to side bend to your right. As you do that, you're going to drop your right hand down on the side of your hip and you're going to push your hips over to the left. So you're going to purposefully weight the left foot more and just check that you haven't turned one way or the other too much, that you're staying with everything kind of in this line as it's bending to the side. Now, when you come out of this, you're going to take your top hand, you're going to drop it behind your head. I'm just going to turn around so you can see that. It's going to cradle the back of your neck, and then the other hand is going to come to the small of your back wherever you can reach naturally and easily. Shouldn't feel effortful. You're going to roll that right shoulder and elbow back, and you're going to push the left shoulder toward the elbow, toward the ceiling. Pull your skull back, lengthen the back of your neck, and draw your waistline back as well. So it should feel less like you're just sucking in your belly and more like you're taking the entire line of your middle back in space. So you should be able to breathe kind of easily if you do that. On the inhale, you're going to reach the arms out and just exhale them by your sides. Pause, breathe in. Exhale, squat. Going right into arms forward, pushing the knees apart so that they're parallel or even maybe a little wider. Deep in the squat, as you push the knees apart, it'll wake up the outer hips. This is often what's sleeping that causes the back to overwork. Exhale, drop the hands. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And now you're side bending to the left. Left hand to the left hip. Push your hips over to the right, not rotating. Just staying in that kind of open space, opening the side of the body. That often compresses as well and contributes not just to back pain, but to neck and shoulder pain. When you stand back up, drop your right hand behind your skull. Take the left one across the low back, wherever you can reach. Roll your elbow and shoulder back with the bottom arm, and with the top one, send your elbow toward the sky. Here, unlike that time when we purposefully sent the hips forward, we're drawing the pelvis back, we're drawing the waistline back, we're drawing the elbows back, and lengthening through the back of the neck. 1 or 2 more breaths. When you exhale, you can free your hands down by your sides. Inhale, arms all the way overhead this time. And then exhale to squat. If it's too much to do chair pose with your arms overhead, just keep them in the front. Sometimes it makes the back grip too much. From here, you're going to drop your hands down toward the ground and begin to straighten your legs. If they don't go all the way straight, do not worry. Just get them where you can. Give yourself a couple breaths to release the weight of the neck and shoulders, or maybe move around a little bit there. You're going to step back with your left foot into a lunge. So it's a nice long stance. You're going to kind of tack that right hip in. Don't let your hip swing off to the side too far. And then you're just going to push through your heel. So simply creating length in the left leg and a little length through your neck. Go ahead and drop that back knee. Come back upright with your torso, just letting your arms dangle by your sides. You're going to rotate slightly to the right. Use your right hand on your hip and your left hand on your knee to help you turn into a twist. When you turn, the head will tend to come forward. So draw it back, lengthen back of the neck, and ease your hips forward and down into the twist. This is already going to be doing a lot of great things to unravel tight hips and low back. But if you want the option, you could pick up your back foot, lasso it with a belt, or maybe hold it with your hand. If the balance is too wobbly, you're welcome to put your hand on the floor or on a block instead. So just do the version that works for you. You should be able to hold it without grimacing or straining too hard. If you do have your back foot, you're going to let that go first. You're going to face back to forward. We're going to pick up the back knee and we're going to spin that heel on a diagonal so it's going to touch the ground. It's not really wide turned out. It's not so wide that you're turning toward the long edge of your mat. It's just enough that you have the stability of the heel on the ground. A little bit like we did earlier in our little back bend, we're going to tuck the tail under. And then we're going to push the hips forward by bending the front knee. Before we were standing on both feet. So we're going to squeeze the tail down and push the hips forward by bending the front knee. So you should be feeling a big stretch in the front of your left hip. Feel free to leave your hands where they are. Sometimes I really like having them on my hips, kind of like when we were standing earlier. Sometimes that feels really good. I can kind of encourage my tailbone to drop down as I roll the chest up and open. But you're welcome to take your hands overhead. This is Warrior One. So if you like that big expression with the arms up, give it a go. In either case, we're going to straighten the front leg, return to the top of the mat, pause, standing on both feet, just catch your breath. I know I'm breathing hard because I'm also talking, but you might be too, because that might have created effort. That's why it's an active version of this practice. Let's get ready to go in on the other side. So we're going to take a breath and we're going to take the arms all the way up overhead. On the exhale, chair pose. Buns go back, pushing the knees apart just enough that we feel the outer hips engage. If this is too much with the arms overhead, just take them forward in front of the chest. Drape the spine forward, come into Uttanasana, your forward bend. Straightening the legs if you can, but not if it causes you any kind of distress. Now send your right leg back to a lunge. Make sure the hips don't swing off to the left, so you kind of tack that left hip in. That'll push the hips to the center. It'll feel like it's pushing them to the right. Push into the right heel. Telescope forward through the neck, even the back of the neck. Get some length. And drop your back knee. Torso comes upright. Just get your balance. Once you have it, twist toward the left. So right hand to the knee, left hand to the low back. So just try to get some stability. If it's real wobbly, just take your time and adjust to that new sensation. But just remember that if you start to take your hips forward, you might find it to be less wobbly. Often when we're too far back is when we get ejected out of the pose. There's that option for the thigh stretch with the back leg. And any version with the right hand, you might want to take the hand to the floor or a block. Head in line with spine. Eyes soft. Now if you have your foot, just let that go. And then this time we're going to come out of it by taking the hands to the mat and stepping back with the left foot. So instead of stopping really in dog pose, we're going to just touch it, just hit that one end of this little flow, and then we're going to lean forward toward plank. And we're going to see about dipping the hips down a little bit and the head up. So back and forth just a few times, kind of heading into a push-up, or maybe letting the hips drop even all the way to knees down if you want, into that version of a back bend. So it could be a big flow of movement from back to front, or maybe it's little, totally up to you. Feel free to hold at either end, the back bend or the dog pose end, just to let your body really absorb that sensation of stretching. And then you're going to make your way to child's pose just briefly. And when you're ready to sit up, go ahead and lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the ground. Once you're there, bring awareness to your low back and draw your waist down so that your low back touches the mat. Once it's touching the mat, there's a little bit of a tuck to the pelvis. Once you have it touching the mat, take your fingers just inside your front hip bones. So you're just feeling with your fingertips. And then you're going to engage as if you're bracing. You're going to brace your belly as if I was going to come over there and place my foot on your stomach and just give you a little bit of weight. You would resist by bracing. So see if you can feel that with your fingers, just feeling, is there a reaction when you brace to these muscles? Do they turn on and tone or activate at all? So that's kind of step one of supporting the low back from the front, is turning on that group of muscles that goes across the belly down here. You should be able to keep some tone there and also breathe. I shouldn't say the word should. It's ideal if you can. And if not, then this is the practice for you, is how do you turn those muscles on and also talk, breathe, etc. Now, if they're on already, good job you, you're going to see if you can lift and lower your feet. So you're alternating like you're marching. And you can hear in my voice, there is more strain when you do that, but I can still feel with my fingers that there's a layer of muscular activity. I can feel some squishy like skin and tissue on top of that, little mini layer of fat there. But underneath that, see if you can feel some muscular contraction. Now, if marching is easy, try bringing both feet up and holding your legs kind of at a 90-degree angle or something like that, while your lower belly is pressing your back into the mat. Maybe give this about 3 more marches or 3 more breaths. You should try to continue to breathe while you're doing this. So it's a constant engagement down low in the belly. Use those muscles to release both feet to the floor if either or both of them are up. And then totally relax entirely in your middle. We're going to just do one last thing for more the upper part of the spine here. Push down with your elbows into the floor. Press the back of your head into the floor and lift your spine up off the earth. So your butt is down, your head is down, your elbows are down, but your chest is puffed up so much so that your shoulder blades have come off the floor. So you're really opening as much as you can in your chest and engaging in your upper back with your shoulder blades kind of packed on your back there. Try to keep this buoyancy and lightness in the chest, and then relax the effort so that the shoulders return to the floor, and kind of tuck the chin, wiggle the neck so that it gets longer. Open the arms straight out to the sides, kind of on a diagonal from the shoulder. Turn the palms up. And then just pull your tailbone, lift your hips and pull your tail a tiny bit longer away from your head so your back gets lengthened. So feel free to leave your knees as is. You could also tip your knees in on each other with the feet wider, or you could just straighten your legs in a kind of traditional Shavasana. Here we're going to just exhale all the air out. Relaxing any tension that we're still feeling in order to allow the inhale to follow. And while you rest just a little bit longer, I'd like you to practice placing your attention on any part of you that feels good or neutral. In other words, it does not hurt. What part of you feels good or at least neutral? Just notice where that is in your body. You might notice if it's static, it's just kind of one spot. Or if it's dynamic, like it's moving or pulsing or tingling or any kind of thing like that. And as you breathe, just notice anything else about this feeling of feeling good or at least neutral. Whatever else comes to mind. Take your hands behind your skull, thumbs kind of resting on your neck. You're just going to lift your skull just a little off the floor. Pull with your hands, create some traction for the back of the neck. And place the head back down. Longer, neck is longer as it returns to the ground. Well, really the head goes to the ground, not the neck. And using that little smart ab work you did before, help to pick up your legs, hold your legs with your hands, and just give yourself a nice little embrace there. If your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. Just rock your knees or circle your knees. And then you're going to sit up in whatever way is intuitive and natural for you. Thank you all. I hope this has been a nice refresh for your back and a little positive energy for your day. I'll see you next time.